Assalamualaikum class students. Today we will do the exercise of chapter number 14, reproduction. Okay, with it? And you can also see on the screen. I hope you hold your book with you. Take out page number 91. Take out page number 91. Okay. Now keep in your mind which you have discussed in the chapter. Now we will do the first of all these are multiple choice questions are given in chapter number 14. The first is that growing an entire new plant from part of the original plant is called. Growing an entire new plant from part of the original plant is called. Okay. So the options are given. First is given budding. Okay. Second is given regeneration. Third is given fragmentation. And the fourth is given vegetative propagation. Now there is a confusion among the students in between two options, the budding and the vegetative propagation. I told you what is the confusion. First of all, you have to keep in your mind that if we think about the budding, we all know that budding is happen inside the plant and also it is happen in the animals. Okay, but it is happen only in plants like hydra. Okay, when we come to the option of regeneration, okay, in regeneration is the process of new tissues forming which replace the damaged tissues. Okay, so this process for regeneration. When we come to fragmentation, we also discussed in the chapter number 14 the methods of sexual reproduction in animals, in which we have discussed fragmentation when the parts of an animal divided into different pieces and each piece converted into a complete new offspring. And vegetative propagation. We also discussed when plants began to grow, they use two different ways. First is called vegetative propagation, and the second one is called one is called natural vegetative propagation and the next one is called artificial vegetative propagation. So question is that growing an entire new plant from part of the original plant is called. So the correct answer is your option B, vegetative propagation. So the correct answer is that vegetative propagation. So budding is not the right answer, regeneration is not the right answer, fragmentation is not the right answer. So but what is the right answer? Option B is the right answer, vegetative propagation. Okay. Now come to question number 2. Rhizopus reproduces asexually by. So keep in your mind natural vegetative propagation ways in which we have discussed rhizopus reproduces asexually by how they are produced. In binary fission, definitely binary fission is happened in animals, so this is not the right answer. Budding, it is also happen in the plants, but in which this is not the right answer. Spore formation, this is not happen in the plants, so this is not the right answer. Okay, so what will be the correct answer? So question number 2. Uh, and next one is endospore formation. Definitely this is not the right answer. So among these four options, which is the right answer? Rhizopus reproduces asexually by spore formation. So this is the right answer. Option C is the right answer. So mark in your book option C. Now come to question number 3. What is question number 3? A palm develops into new garlic plant. This is the process of a palm. We also discuss palm, rhizopus and other ways in natural vegetative propagation. Okay. And we also discussed that when plants began to produce by asexually, so they use the method of vegetative propagation. And in vegetative propagation, especially stem, root, and flower are included for vegetative propagation. So here the question is that a palm develops into new garlic plant. So this is the process of vegetative propagation. Regeneration, this is not the right answer. Meiosis, not right the answer. Gametogenesis, not right the answer because it is a process in which gametes are formed. Okay, so this is not the right answer. So the correct option is that option A. A palm develops into a new garlic plant through vegetative propagation. So this is the right answer. Question number 3, option A is the right answer. Now come to question number 4. Which is not an advantage of grafting? Which is not an advantage of grafting? Okay, which is not. Always students don't focus on this point not. Okay, so you have to keep a which is not. Okay, so what will be your right answer? First we will see the option. What is the option A? So option A is the graft is identical to the parent plant. Okay. Option B, grafting allows the propagation of seedless fruits. Okay. A graft combines the characteristics of two plants. Yes. And grafting may allow the faster production of desirable fruits. Okay. So what will be the correct answer? We also discussed in the chapter that vegetative propagation can be divided into two ways. First is for natural vegetative propagation and second is for artificial vegetative propagation. And in artificial vegetative propagation, we have discussed two important ways and they are grafting and cutting. Cutting is that when we cut the one part of the plant and it is and put under the soil, then it converts into a new plant. But grafting is a different method. Grafting is that when we put that plant in another plant, when we put with them, so they get the properties of each other. Okay. So what will be the correct answer? The first option is not the right answer. Second is not the right answer. Option C is the right answer. The graft combines the characteristics of two plants. The graft combines the characteristics of two plants. So for question number 4, option C is the right answer. I hope you understand it. Okay, now come to question number 5. Pollination is the transfer of pollens from. Question number 5. Okay. What is that? Pollination is the transfer of pollens from. We also discussed the pollination method when plants want to do the fertilization. So they use different methods of sexual reproduction. Among them, there is a pollination. Pollination is a process in which the pollens of one flower forms on the stigma of another flower. And we also know this thing that every plant has male and female both parts along with it. The male parts are called stamens and the female parts are called carpels. Okay. So now we will see the option. When there is pollination is happening, so which thing is transfer of pollen from? So pollination is the transfer of pollen from. So from where the pollen transfer and where they are falls. So the options are anther to stigma. Second option is that stigma to anther. Third is that sepal to petal. And the fourth is petal to sepal. So look at your book. So keep in your mind all the options. Anther to stigma, stigma to anther. This is not the right answer because stigma is the part of the female part of a flower and anther is a male part of a flower. So definitely stigma do not produce pollen. So this is not the right answer. Sepal to petal. We also discussed the 4 layers of flower that the nose part of the flower is sepal and the bright part of the flower is petal. So definitely pollens will not transfer from sepal to petal. Now the option B, petal to sepal. So definitely they are opposite to each other. So this is not happen in petal to sepal. So what will be the right answer? The right answer is option A. Pollination is the transfer of pollens from anther to stigma. Anther is the male part of a flower, and stigma is the female part of a flower. So the pollens are formed in anther. Okay. So when this anther is burst, the pollens are scattered in the air. So they are fallen on the stigma of a flower. Stigma is a female part of a flower. So when pollen falls on the stigma, they goes inside the ovary, okay, to filament, to a style. It is also called a pollen tube, and then they reaches to the ovary. In the ovary, already ovules are there. So when these pollens are fuses with ovules. So one fusion is for fertilization and early zygote is formed, and the other polar is attached another ovule and convert into sperm which provide the nutrients to the new embryo. Okay, so this is the procedure. For question number 5, pollination is the transfer of pollens from. So the correct answer is option A, anther to stigma. Now come to question number 6. Now question number 6. Look at your book. Question number 6. Double fertilization in plants means. We also discussed that fertilization can be of two types. One is called internal fertilization and the other one is called external fertilization. But sometimes there is double fertilization is happen in plants. I have told the procedure when I have discussed with you question number 5 in pollination. One sperm will one pollen will attach to ovule and convert into embryo, and the second one will convert into endosperm. So this is also called double fertilization in the body of a plant. So now we will discuss the options. Double fertilization in plants means number one, fusion of two sperms with two egg cells. No. Okay, fusion of one sperm with egg cell and other sperm with fusion of nucleus. Yes, this is the right answer. Fusion of one sperm means one pollen with egg cell means with one ovule, and other pollen means sperm with fusion nucleus, and it will convert into endosperm. And its important function is there to store nutrients for the early zygote, to provide the nutrients to the early zygote. Third option is fusion of two sperms with a single egg cell. This is not the right answer. Option D, fusion of tube nucleus with fusion nucleus and sperm with egg cell. This is also not the right answer. So what is the right answer? Double fertilization in plants means option B is the right answer. Fusion of one sperm with egg cell and other sperm with fusion nucleus. So what is the right answer? Option B, fusion of one sperm with egg cell and other sperm with fusion nucleus. So option B is the right answer. For question number 6, option B is the right answer. Now come to question number 7. Look at the screen. Question number 7. After fertilization in plants, the food develops from. After fertilization in plants, the fruit develops from. Option A is ovule ball. This is not the right answer. Option B is ovule ball. Okay. Option C, petals, not right answer. And option D, anther, not right answer. So I will discuss what is ovule ball. A ball ovule is present already inside the ovary of a female part of a plant. Okay, so from ovule ball, not fruit is developed. Petals, this is the bright part of the flower. That why it is bright? So for pollination, the insect will attract to it. Okay, and the third one is anther, and we also discussed in above MCQs that anther is the male part of a flower where spores are formed. So option A, option C, and option D is not the right answer. So what is the right answer? The right answer is part B, ovary wall. How the fruit is developed? Fruit is developed with the help of ovary wall, because inside the ovary wall in the center there is a seed actually which is developed from the nucleus. So the ovary wall is converted into a fruit. So question number 7, option B is the right answer. Now we will go to the question number 8. Which part of the female reproductive system receives egg cells from the ovary? Which part of the female from the ovary? Which part of the female reproductive system receives egg cells from the ovary? It means that you have to tell the female reproductive system, the part of the female which receives the egg cells from the ovary. Okay. So the options are, we will see the options. Question number A. So first option is A, fallopian tube. Option B is uterus. Option C is vagina, and option D is cervix. So I will tell you what are the parts of female reproductive system. Uterus is that where the embryo is developed. So this is not the right answer. Vagina is the part of female reproduction where the sperms are deposited. So this is not the right answer. Cervix is the part of female reproductive system, which in simple words we call it a birth canal. So this is not the right answer. So the right answer is fallopian tube. In female reproductive system, fallopian tube is the part of female reproductive system which receives egg cells from the ovary. So the right answer is question number 8, option A, fallopian tube. Now come to question number 9. Inside testes. Testes, we all of know, they are present in a male reproductive system. Inside testes, the sperms are produced in. The sperms are produced in. So keep in your mind the male reproductive system of a rabbit in your mind, how they are formed. If you keep in mind the structure of male reproductive, inside testes, the sperms are produced in. Vas deferens, no, they are present in female reproductive system. Sperm duct, no, sperm duct are only responsible to pass the sperms into urinary bladder. Semi-inferior tubules, yes, this is the right answer. Inside testes, the sperms are produced in. Where they are produced? They are produced in semi-inferior tubules. And option B, the collecting duct. No, this is not the right answer. So option A, vas deferens. D, option D, option B, sperm duct, and option D, collecting duct. These are not the right answers. The right answer is option C, semi-inferior tubule. I hope you understand it. Okay, now come to question number 10. Last MCQs of this chapter. Which of these cells has haploid number of chromosomes? Haploid means in which the number of chromosomes are double, becomes double. Okay. So what is happened here? First option is there, spermatogonium. No, this is the early stage inside the testis when sperms began to develop. So spermatogonium is not the right answer. Option B, primary spermatocyte. No, here they are making the structure. They are forming the structure. So this is not the right answer. Option C, secondary spermatocyte. Yes, this is the right answer. Which of these cells has haploid number of chromosomes? So, secondary spermatocyte in the process of spermatogenesis, a process in which the sperms are formed before fertilization. So, in that stage, secondary spermatocyte is the stage where the haploid number of chromosomes are produced. Okay, and option D, all of these, definitely this is not the right answer. So you can see option A, option B, and option D is not the right answers. The right answer is option C, secondary spermatocytes, and it is a process of spermatogenesis in which sperms are formed before the fertilization. I hope you understand all the options. Now I am repeating the answers again. You can also tell me the answers with me. Multiple choice questions. Question number 1, option B is correct, vegetative propagation. Question number 2, option C is correct, spore formation. Question number 3, option A is correct, vegetative propagation again. Question number 4, option C is correct, the graph combines the characteristics of two plants. Question number 5, pollination is the transfer of pollens from option A is correct, anther to stigma. Question number 6, option C is correct. Option B is correct. Fusion of one sperm with egg cell and other sperm with fusion nucleus. Question number 7, option B is correct. Ovary wall. Question number 8, option A is correct. Fallopian tube. Question number 9, option C is correct. Semi-inferior tubules. And question number 10, option C is correct. Secondary spermatocyte. I hope you understand all the MCQs. I have explained you with their logically consequences. Now we will go to the next page. Okay, Vijay, look at the screen. This is short questions are given, page number 14. On next page, now we will discuss the short questions. I will discuss with you. Okay, Vijay, first I will discuss the short questions which are given on your next page. So first question is given, how are the natural and artificial vegetative propagation different from the vegetative propagation, the methods of asexual reproduction in plants? Okay, how are the natural and artificial vegetative propagation different from the methods asexual reproduction in plants? So how they are different? So if we keep in our mind in artificial and natural vegetative propagation, the plants reproduce from vegetative parts of the plant like roots, stem and leaves, and there is no fusion of gametes as well. So we can say that these are asexual methods of reproduction. If you understand the question, how are the natural and artificial vegetative propagation? We have discussed two different methods of reproduction of plants in the book. First, we have discussed asexual reproduction in plants, in which we have discussed that when there is asexual reproduction, actually it is called vegetative propagation. And vegetative propagation further divided into two methods, natural and artificial. And in vegetative propagation, the important thing is that roots, stem, and leaves are involved. And in this process, there is no fusion of gametes. But when we talk about the asexual reproduction in plant, so natural and artificial vegetative propagation methods are considered a sexual method of reproduction in plants. I'm repeating the answer. In our book, we have discussed two different reproductions in plants. First, we have discussed asexual reproduction in plants, and secondly, we have discussed the sexual reproduction in plants. Okay, and when we talk about asexual reproduction in plants, so it comprises the vegetative propagation. And we all know this thing that in vegetative propagation, roots, stems, and leaves are involved. And definitely in this reproduction, there is no fusion of gametes. Because we know this thing, if there is a sexual reproduction, then there should be a fusion of sperms and egg cells. So in vegetative propagation, it is happen in root, stems and leaf, and there is no fusion of any gamete. So that's why we can say vegetative propagation further divided into two types, natural and artificial. In natural, we further discuss methods, bulb, forms, rhizopus, okay, and tubers. And in artificial, we have discussed two methods, cutting and grafting. So we can say vegetative propagation can be considered a sexual reproduction of plants. Okay, so this is the answer of question number one. So you have to write these answers into your register. Now come to question number two. Why do gardeners use the method of cutting and grafting? Why do gardeners? First of all, we have to keep in mind what is cutting and grafting. Cutting is a process in which the gardener take the one part of the plant, for example, they take a one branch of rose plant and put them in the soil, and then a new plant began to grow. And grafting is that the one part of a plant is attached to the another part of a plant, and due to that, the two plants share the characteristics of each other. So this is called a grafting. Now, in this question, they are asking why do gardeners use the method of cutting and grafting? Okay, why the gardener like to use cutting and grafting method? So the answer is that gardeners and farmers use this method to increase the stock of plants. In cutting, they can get many plants from a single plant. It helps to increase the number of plants at a rapid rate. Why do they use these methods? Because due to these methods, they can increase the number of plants, and for this purpose, they use only one plant. So that's why gardeners feel easy to use these two methods, cutting and grafting. Now, question number three. Parthenogenesis is a type of a sexual reproduction. Give comment in this statement. Okay, parthenogenesis is a type of a sexual reproduction. Give comments on this statement. Okay, and this question also comes in 2019 exams, in board exams, in short questions. Parthenogenesis is a type of asexual reproduction. Give comments on this statement. So, what is the reason? Answer is that parthenogenesis, if you keep in your mind, okay, what is this process? It was a process in which an unfertilized egg develops into a new offspring. We also discussed in the chapter, and we know this thing that parthenogenesis is a process in which an unfertilized egg convert into a new offspring. So, what is happened in parthenogenesis? An unfertilized egg develops into a new offspring. Since in parthenogenesis, no fertilization means fusion of gametes takes place, so it is a sexual method of reproduction. So why it is called a sexual reproduction? Because in this process there is no fusion of gametes, there is no fusion of egg and sperm. So that's why it is called a asexual reproduction. Now question number four, outline the life cycle of a flowering plant. Outline the life cycle of a flowering plant. So we all of know first zygote is developed, then sporophyte generation is happened, then spores are formed, then gametophyte is happened, and then gametes are formed, and ultimately the zygote is produced. So if you want to write in the life cycle of a flowering plant, I tell you again, you can write first write zygote, then make an arrow. First write zygote, then make an arrow, then write sporophyte, then make an arrow, then write spores, then make an arrow, then write gametophyte, then make an arrow, then write gametes, then make an arrow, in the end you will write the zygote. I hope you have written. I am repeating it again. Zygote, sporophyte, spores, gametophyte, gamete, and then zygote. I hope you have written the answer. Question number 4. Now we will discuss the question number 5. What structural adaptations will you find in a wind pollinated flower? What structural adaptations will you find in a wind pollinated flower? If you keep in your mind in your chapter you have discussed in a column wind pollinating plant and insect pollinating plant. And you also discussed their adaptations, which thing they can adopt. Okay, I am repeating these adaptations again. In a wind pollinated flower, okay, uh, okay, bete, I will discuss you question number 5. So, listen carefully. Question number 5. In a wind pollinating flower, flowering falling structure adaptations are found because in which we are discussing about the wind pollinating flower, which adaptations are happened in wind pollinating flower. So, number 1 is the size of their flower is small and the petals are green or dulling color. Question number 2, they do not produce nectar and the flower hang down for easy shaking. Number 3, the stamen and stigmas hang out of the ring of petals. Number 4, they produce large number of pollen grains. And number 5, their stigma bears petty branches for catching the pollen. So I had discussed 5 adaptations of wind pollinated flower with juice. Number 1 adaptation is there. The size of their flower is small. If they are wind pollinated flower, their size should be small. Okay. And the petals are green or dulling color. Their petals should be green and maybe in dull color. Question number 2, they do not produce nectar. Okay, that means they do not produce sugary solution. And the flower hang down for easy shaking. And the flower hang down for easy shaking. Number 3, the stamen and stigmas hang out of the root of petals. They are hang out in the form of rings in the along with petals. Along with petals. And number 4, they produce large number of pollen grains. And number 5, their stigma bears feathery branches for catching the pollen. So these are the 5 adaptations which are given in your book in a table which is about wind pollinated flower and insect pollinated flower. Okay. Now come to the next question. This is the last short question, question number 6. So what is that? Give an introduction of Pakistan's National AIDS Control Program. National AIDS Control Program. It is given in Jammu. Pakistan's Federal Ministry of Health established NACP in 1987. National AIDS Corporation Program. Okay. And the main objective of this program is to help the public for the prevention of HIV transmission. And second objective of this organization is safe blood transfusion and reduction of STDs. So these are the two objectives. Question is that give an introduction of Pakistan's National AIDS Control Program. Okay. So its answer is given in your book. Pakistan's Federal Ministry of Health established NACP, National AIDS, the National AIDS Control Program in 1987. The main objective of this program is to help the public for the prevention of HIV transmission, safe blood transfusion, and reduction of STDs. I hope you understand all the short questions. You have to write all these answers in your book. Okay. Now we will discuss the long questions. Understanding the concepts. The first long question is given. What are the different ways by which prokaryotes, protozoans, and fungi reproduce asexually? What are the different ways by which prokaryotes? For prokaryotes, you also discuss the because you have to tell the methods of asexual reproduction. So in prokaryotes, you have discussed these things in a process of bionucleation. In a process of bionucleation, in which you have discussed in prokaryotes, you have discussed the example of bacteria. Maybe we will discuss long questions in our next class. Allah.